Okay, good evening guys and girls, welcome back to FTRL. We are here for week number 5 of our GT1 season. Apologies for the ever so slight delay and the non-expressive graphics that you was expecting to see on your screen. I've spent ages trying to organise everything and have it all ready and set up, turned on my PC to stream from there, and it's apparently forgotten how to do everything. So I'm not very pleased at the moment, so if I seem a bit angry for the first hour of this stream, then you understand why. But no, that aside, we are at Autopolis short tonight. It's just me in the comms box, unfortunately, for your ears. So please do keep the comments coming in, keep me entertained, and yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Should be a cracker tonight. We've got 12 cars on track. 11 of the regulars. We've got 3 missing, unfortunately. Well, 4 now unsafe. Unsafe release is having some internet issues by the sounds of things, so he's not enjoying the best of times at the moment. Fever is no longer racing this season, from my understanding, and then we've got Custer and somebody else missing who I can't remember off the top of my head. We do have Rom, the old Belgian legend that he is. He's coming in to race tonight after a small absence of FTRL GT Sport, so good to see him back on track. Please let me know that sound and everything's all okay, and yeah, we'll take through the action. Should be really, really close tonight. Like I said to you, Autopolis, it's got one monster of a straight and then a bit of a twisty rest of it, if you like, down the rest of the lap. T-Smith running a little bit wide through the final corner. Pagani, your current championship leader, I imagine, is driving about on his own at the back at the moment. Pagani is in the lead of the championship, I believe, 21 points from Mr. T-Smith in second. So we saw a pole time last night set by myself of a 1:10.6, I believe it was. We saw in the races that can be beaten. I think there was a couple of lap times of 1:10.2s, 1:10.3. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these lads get very, very close to that time, or close to the 1:10 flats, to be honest with you, or significantly closer than the rest of us was last night. Pagani's taken provisional pole, 1:10.3. He is my bet for pole position and probably at least 1 or 2 wins this evening. So, and his teammate, Mr. Lee Cole, sitting in P2. So these boys doing really, really well. Lee currently suffering with COVID as well, so he's a little bit under the weather as it stands. So hope you recover soon, my friend. It's a bit of a bugger that thing is still around and haunting all of our dreams, you know, but it is what it is. But on a slightly brighter note, this man, SPY, it is his birthday, so happy birthday to you, Sean. Thank you for all that you do, my friend. You are incredibly highly thought of and favoured in the FTRL community, and I've had the pleasure of sharing a drink with you on our trip to Brands Hatch. So wonderful man, wonderful racer, and yeah, wonderful commentator. So many happy returns to you, Sean, and hope you have hope you've had a lovely day, should I say, because we're approaching the business end of said day now. So yeah, let's go and check in with the rest of the field. So Linus, he does have a qualifying ban this evening. It's been a bit of a naughty boy. No, just a couple of penalty points that have accumulated over the course of the season. We'll see plenty of them. Linus, he was the first one to actually get a qualifying ban for it. So he'll be ready to rock and roll as the lights go out for race 1. Obviously, it does make a difference in this division where you start on the track. But as we've seen, race 1's normally the most boring, and then we have the reversed top 7 for race 2, and then the fully reversed grids for race 3. So fingers crossed, he will be alive and kicking, ready to rock and roll as we get ready for lights out very, very soon. But Pagani on another flying lap. He was purple in the first sector from what I saw. Rom has improved up to P4. Not bad for someone that was racing on half an hour's notice. Pagani's gone purple by just over half a tenth. T Smith has improved to a 1:10.4. But it was a good final corner from Pagani. This could be a 1:10.2, maybe better. 1:10.3. So if he does improve his time, he's back up to a tenth and a half ahead of T Smith. I'm just going to open up the stream and just make sure everything's okay. For those that are watching, please do like the stream, and someone please let me know that the volume's okay. Just obviously want to make sure that it's not too loud or anything. But no, so T Smith's currently in second. Lee Cole's in P3. He's had a really good season, Lee. Cartman's in P4. I imagine he'll go well. I think a lot of Cartman. I think he's an excellent driver. Rom is in P5, only just ahead of Bread, who's only just ahead of Blue Flag. So we are going to see plenty of FTRL trains tonight, mark my words. SPY in P8 in the Evo, Ross down in P9. I imagine he should probably go quicker. Get a nice toe off of Tom. He's up on his personal best, but not by a massive amount. Pretty good final corner, so I think it'll probably be an improvement from Ross here. Let's hope that you can get a nice toe from Tom. Ross doesn't improve, no, unfortunately not. SPY has improved though, by the looks of things, but he stays where he is. Lennon down in P10, only a couple of tenths off the rest of the pack. Blue Flag very, very close to him. Let's stand board of Blue Flag, see what he can do. Pretty tidy lap thus far. Thank you for your lovely words, Andy. I can assure you I'm not in the best of moods after my antics with my poxy bloody Elgato. Blue Flag's down on his time by 3 tenths. Pagani is on his final lap. Where's T Smith? He's coming around the final corner. He's down on his time as well. Stand board with Lee. Chubbs is in the chat. Good evening, mate. How are you? Lee's stand well out of the way. Ross has improved up to a 1:10.4, so he's got himself up to P3. So Pagani to the line. Is he going to improve? Doesn't look like it. Nope. So Pagani does take pole. T Smith second. Ross, T Smith's teammate, comes up with a nice solid lap at the end there for P3. Lee Cole was in P4. We'll see the rest of the grid in just a moment. Obviously we know Lionessi will be starting from the back of the order as we get ready for race number 1. So carrying on where we were, so Cartman in 5th, Rom in 6th, Bread in 7th, Blue Flag in 8th, SPY 9th, Lennon in 10th, and Lionessi, like we say, rounding off the grid. Couple of absentees this week in both divisions. Hopefully should be rectified for next week, but we're really, really close to release of GT7, so we'll just have to wait for that, and then we'll start getting the numbers flood back in. But anyway, it's lights out, away we go. Pagani's had a good launch. I think Ross might have actually had a better start than Tom. He might let Tom go in towards turn 1. We'll have to wait and see. Looks fairly clean in the background. We'll see if anybody else goes off. Yeah, Ross is just going to let Tom go around the outside and try and cover off Lee. Lee does have a good run out of turn 1 though, but I think Ross is probably just going to have enough to hold it. Unless Lee can do him around the outside in towards turn 2. Lee does do him around the outside, but he runs wide onto the grass. Ball bumps into Cartman as he rejoins. A little bit scrappy. Cartman's all out of shape. And Blue Flag's capitalised and got himself up to P4. Ross, however, has dropped all the way down to 11th as a result from that. But the top 2 have already pulled out of slipstream range. So Pagani versus T Smith looks very much like it's game on once again. 2 championship rivals, they'll both be in the party. No doubt Tom's microphone is absolutely pissing everybody off. If he watches this back and plays this out loud to his lovely partner, can you please let Tom get a new microphone or persuade him to or something, because that is one of the most hideous things I've ever heard in my life. The static, the breath, everything was just awful. And Tom, I know you're going to listen to this back, so just invest a bit of money in something a bit better than what sounds like you've got a funnel up your arse, right? And we don't want to hear you breathing into it all the time. Thank you. I am preaching, Andy. Pastor Taylor. Right, I'm over that now. Right, Pagani still in the lead. The lead does point up a bit of a gap. Blue flag covering from Cartman. So let's watch blue flag defend. Always entertaining. And Rom. Ripping the Graham. Good evening, Graham. My man. Rom sporting the Belgian colours, and Cartman sending it back up the inside of blue flag. No love lost between these two. SBY and P7 Lioness on his outside. Lioness has had a good start, but it's probably not going to be the most exciting straight line battle between these two, as Lennon in the Hyundai is coming up around the outside, 3 wide into turn 1. SBY very nicely backs out Lennon. If he can hold that, what an overtake that is. What an overtake that is from Lennon. That's one of the best I've seen this season. 3 wide into turn 1 at Autopolis, which is a really difficult, tricky corner, and he's made it stick. Ross, unfortunately, has dribbled all the way to the back, as Ross does. And T. Smith has dropped off behind Pagani, so and Lee Cole is on the move. As you were between the top 3. Autopolis is not the easiest place to overtake, however it's not impossible. The difference between some of the cars that we're seeing on offer here is that things like the Subaru, which we're seeing with blue flag, and the Mitsubishi Evo being repped by Rom and by SBY, are not very fast down the straights, whereas Lennon's Hyundai and Tom's BMW are. But they're so good through the corners, so it's kind of a bit of a stalemate by the end of every lap. This is an almighty cluster at the back of the order. Lioness down the inside of Lennon. Can he return the favour? No, he sensibly backs out and holds on to position. Proper FTRL trains going on, but Pagani controlling the pace. T. Smith stuffing his face. No doubt he's got a bit of cake in his mouth or something whilst he's driving around Autopolis shouting at his dog for no reason. And then you've got blue flag with Rom and Cartman running side by side. This is a very, very long left-hander, and it gets pretty tight towards exit. It's very, very easy to run off on the right-hand side. Evening, Mike. Rom and Cartman, lovely side-by-side battle. Cartman might get a penalty for that. He cut the last corner a little bit. Lioness and Lennon still going at it. It's good to see that nobody's really dropped off. Pagani and Tom have made a bit of a gap, just by a second and a half or so. But the rest of the guys in a massive queue, which is what we want to see. Graham making a livery in GT Sport. Good lad. This is what we like to hear, Graham. You will love this game. It's Gran Turismo 7 and whatnot. The racing is brilliant. It's just so nice to know that you can have those little bumps and whatnot. Obviously you don't try to do that, but if you do have a little bump, you know that it's not your race over, because you've got to go and pit and change your front wing and whatever else. Yeah, and there's so much variation to things you can do on this game, so we love it. We absolutely love it. Cartman and Rom, really good battle so far. Fred has dropped off ever so slightly behind Ross, but he's still well within slipstream range. Ross is, like I said to you, it's not the quickest car in a straight line, that Subaru. And although Ross is probably the quickest out of this bunch, as we saw from qualifying, it's going to be increasingly more difficult to get past them all, to train all the way up to 5th, and then did pull out to look for a move potentially, but didn't end up happening. Graham does sound nice. I'm more worried about turning on someone not knowing that they're there. Yeah, I mean you've got the radar on your MFD, which you can change to, which is always pretty handy. But it just comes with experience, mate. To be honest with you, we've all been in a position where even now you'll see some people will go for a bit of a move on somebody and there might be a bit of a bump, but I mean it's so different to racing on F1. You can have those bumps and it will not jeopardise your race really. And like I said to you, especially with GT2, it's such a learning division for pretty much everybody that those sorts of things happen. You know, we saw it last night and we'll see it happen again and again. But yeah, and it just comes with time. But speaking of time, Pagani has pulled out even more of it to T Smith. I smashed that little transition, didn't I? 2.3 seconds. And T Smith needs to be careful with Lee behind him, because Lee is on his way and he's getting down to around about that 1 second mark. Yeah, Chubbs, you got to get on it, mate. Loads of people are moving over to GT now and having a go, and I definitely would. GT7 is going to be great. They've added all sorts of new features to the game. It's really going to step up a gear, and we're going to give it a good push as well, as we do. So yeah, it's going to be fun all round for everybody by the looks of things. Right, lap number 7. I can't remember how many laps there were last night. I believe it was around 16 or 17 laps, if memory serves correct. Callboy's in the chat. Good evening, mate. GT7 is released on the 4th of March. So literally a month today, Gran Turismo 7 comes out. Very exciting times. Looking forward to it very much. And he's joining back as well. Can't wait. It's going to be epic. Pagani, new lease of life. He's not been the most well of people. Well, today Pagani's been a little bit poorly, should we say. No worries, Joe. Nice to see you in here, mate. Hope you are well. But yeah, Pagani is a very motivated man at the moment. He's 20. I think he's 21 points clear of T Smith, and considering it's 1 point per position, we do 3 races per night. We are on week 5 of 8, so you would think if Pagani can basically not lose many more points to T Smith over this week and the next, he should have it in the bag. Obviously we know anything can happen, but by the way he's driven this season, it's the best I've seen him. So best I've seen him for a while, should I say. T Smith has pulled out a bit of a gap to Lee. Blue Flag has got over his battle with Cartman, who's still having a good scrap with Rom. Then we've got this massive gaggle of cars still together, and thankfully nobody has dropped right off, so we will get some action. We'll stay on board with SBY. Is he going to take a look? No, he's not. I mean, it's good to see everybody's getting the braking points right. I mean, the slipstream, especially with how slow these cars are in a straight line. Obviously, these guys would have been practicing driving around on their own. And because the first corner goes downhill and then really is tighter than it looks, it's really easy to outbrake yourself, especially in slipstream. And with the difference in cars as well, like Lennon's Hyundai is not that good on the brakes, but the Renault, the Mitsubishi and the Subaru behind are really good on the brakes. So it's a lot of factors to take into consideration all at once. But these boys doing a stellar job so far. We've had quite a few new people joining the GT Sport ranks of late. It's been great to see. And with Gran Turismo 7 we're also going to be getting 20 people lobbies as opposed to, you know, the 16 that we do now. So more than likely probably going to be 18 people in the races next season per division, because we're assigned 2 slots for commentators. So we're going to see a good considerable amount more people on the track. And that's Lennon and Linus. He's still going at it. Linus, you can maybe try and cut back through turn 1. Lennon driving very well though. Ronaldo just missed a penalty. My evening started superbly. Yeah, good. if Pogba could just, you know, disappear, I mean, that would make it the perfect evening, wouldn't it? But oh well, Ralph's at the wheel and all that. Stalemate. The top three standings they are. Blue Flag driving really well. Quite a wide approach from him through there, but all seems well. But we're going to stay with this battle for 7th, I think. Everybody else really boring. Like I said, race 2 and race 3 will be the exciting ones. For those that are new or don't watch very often, the likes of Callboy and even maybe Graham, who aren't too familiar. So we're doing 3 races. Each of them are 20 minutes long. We had a qualifying for race 1, which Pagani got pole. So Pagani gets an extra championship point for that. And then they start off in qualifying order for race 1. And then race number 2, the top 7 from this race will be reversed. So essentially, whoever finishes at the front of this little pack here, at the end of this race, will start on pole position for race number 2. So it's a huge advantage for it. And then race number 3 will be a fully reverse grid for race from race number 2. So whoever finishes last in race 2 will start on pole in race 3, and vice versa. Very similar to how the normal British touring cars work to a certain degree. We tried to do a British touring car theme this season. A lot of the liveries that you're seeing are replicants of, again, the British Touring Car Championship, from those that are current or over previous years, and then some people have kind of invented their own style. So good to see Lioness. He darts to the outside. Can he hold it around the outside of Lennon, who's going to go a little bit deep into the corner, but he manages to cover it off pretty well. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Zigzagging down the line to try and break the toe. Lennon, however, like I said to you, Lioness at this point does look quicker, but the straight line speed of the Hyundai is really helping Lennon out here. He's one of the quickest cars on the grid this evening. Lioness got a little bit of a push from SBY there. I thought that might have been enough to try and help him around the outside, but it didn't quite materialise as he maybe would have hoped. Very intriguing battle. Bread has fallen off ever so slightly, just 1 second back, but the way these guys are scrapping. 6 minutes to go as well. We're going to start seeing people go for those moves. And Rom and Cartman have exchanged positions. They're still pretty close, and they've caught up to Blue Flag. So this could be entertaining to watch. And Pagani 4.3 clear of T Smith, who's just got no answer for him at the moment. So as it stands, Pagani will gain 1 point from this race and 1 point from pole position to extend his championship lead to 23 points. Lee Cole, Lee's having a really good season, one of the best I've seen him have for a long time. And it's good to see him and Pagani obviously teammates as well. Is that I can take a look at Blue Flag into turn 1? No. Rom is very, very close though. And I can tell you now as a fact that Blue Flag will be in the party, completely holding his breath to this point now. And making all sorts of weird noises for the rest of the race. To try and hold on to P4, but either way, these guys will be starting in a good position for race 2, but for any incidents. And Lioness, he has got past Lennon, who's dropped down a couple of positions now, and Ross has made his move. So if Ross can get past Lioness by the end of this race, then he will be starting on pole position for race 2, so his fortunes would definitely have changed after the way that this one started for him. So all to play for. Bread has got past SBY, he's had a bit of a wiggle, so I don't know whether there was a little bit of contact between Lennon and SBY possibly, and you can hear the sweat dripping at Blue Flag. Let's hope he's got his bib on. As they were starting lap 14. Stay with Rom and we'll kind of get the best angle of both. I am conscious of that battle behind, but there's only so much I can watch at once. Like I said, it would have been good to have a second commentator tonight to bounce off of and whatnot, but Yeah, unfortunately, everybody else has got other commitments. So you've got to put up with my nasally, slightly Cockney style voice. 3.5 minutes to go. So Pagani's crossing the line. Pagani, by the looks of things, he's just done a 1:10.2, fastest lap of the race. And if you look at his lap times at the right hand side of the screen, he's not done a lap over 1:10.5 since lap number 6, which for reference was very similar to the pole position time of last night. So Pagani is absolutely on one at the moment, and the FTRL GT GOAT of Mr. Smith has not got an answer for it. I must say that the BMW is not probably the ideal car around this circuit. The Subaru does hold that title, but on form this season Pagani has been, and to be honest with you, T Smith's not driven badly at all, but he's just been on another level. Our Geordie friend. Blue flag doing what blue flag does. He's still holding on. Going to check in behind, so there's a little bit of a break off now. So Lennon and SPY have dropped off, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. So it looks to be between Lionessy, Ross and potentially Bread for pole position for race 2. It's a really important battle, and it's a good aspect, I think, to have, because you know what it's like, everybody wants to win, but if they've got something else which they can really fight for in a race, even when they're battling around, you know, the positions of 6th to 8th, 9th, that kind of area, knowing how beneficial that is going to be for their next race, it's a nice little thing to have. But Ross does look close. Well, I've also just had a text message from my nan, saying go 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 Paginini. So nearly there, Nan. At least you try. Oh, blue flag. Wrong, we'll try and cut back. Blue flag. Just braking on the apex. Outbrakes himself and slams the brake on the apex. Ron gives him a push, and they're into the final lap of the race. Pagani, I think, will get one more, potentially T Smith as well. That'll be quite close. And Lee looking to round up a podium, but blue flag's held on into turn 1. Cartman doing all he can behind Ron to try and spook him into a move or something. And Lionessy and Ross are looking really close as well. These are the key battles to watch out for. I'll try and get it all in by the end of the race. Ron needs to set something up on blue flag, but to be fair to him, he's driven really, really well. Defended his position well, from what I've seen. Just a couple more corners to navigate, but we're going to go on board with Pagani as he comes round to claim the start of a potential perfect evening, pole position and the race win at the end of this lap. T Smith is going to cross the line. He's going to have to do... Oh no, he has finished. So Pagani has won the race, I can confirm. T Smith has finished second, Lee Cole third. Blue flag holds off Rom, holds off Cartman, and Lionessy has held off Ross, who has dropped back a tiny bit. So Ross finishes in 8th, Brett 9th, Lennon in 10th, and SPY in 11th. So Pagani dribbling around the track for the final time. So it will be Lionessy on pole for race number 2, and his teammate Cartman will be starting in P2. So the Renault boys going to look to have a really good start. Then Ron will start in P3, blue flag 4th, Lee Cole 5th, T Smith 6th, Pagani 7th, and then Ross will be gutted. And like we said last time round, Pagani, start of a potential perfect evening, pole position and the race win of the first race of the evening. Unstoppable performance so far from Pagani. Let's see if he can continue that in what's going to be a much more difficult race. So go and get your drinks and your popcorn and your food and whatnot, and get ready for race number 2. Unsafe Release has rejoined, so fingers crossed he will be able to race this time round. I'll save the replay for this one. Unfortunately, it is still me hosting this lobby, and I have asked them for it to not be me doing this whilst I'm doing this stream, but these things happen. So change those event settings. Ask to get everybody in the cars as I need to do a grid. What happened at the end, Lennon? You were driving really well then. Did you just do the typical Lennon thing? Well, as soon as Ross is in his car, there we go, I will be able to do the grid order. So it was Lionesi pole, it was Cartman second, then Rom, then Blue Flag, then Lee, T Smith, Pagani, Ross, Bread, Lennon, SPY, Unsafe Release. Right. A couple of the boys needing a pedal. Yep. Whilst you're all here, people, please do like the stream for me. We're on 6 so far. Would be a massively appreciated if you would be so kind. So let me just double check that the order is correct. So it should be Lionesi, Cartman, Rom, Blue Flag. Yes. Rom, Cartman, Lionesi. Shut up, Pagani. Sorry, Lee Cole, T Smith, Pagani. Then Ross, Bread, Lennon, SPY, Unsafe. There we go. Beautiful. Right, do excuse me, I'm just going to go and grab a drink before we start race number 2. Get your predictions in the chat as to let me know who you think is going to win this one. And I will see you in a second. Okay, right, we are back. Race number 2, this is where it's going to get exciting now. Who do I think is going to win this one? I think... Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to go for Rom to win this one. I think Pagani's going to be... No, I don't. I think Cartman's going to be second, and I think T. Smith's going to be third. Lights out, away we go. For the second time, the two Renault boys get away very, very well. Not under too much pressure going to turn 1. Linus, he is the leader here. Cartman's going to hold and try and switch back up the inside of his teammate. Somebody is off in the background, that is Lee. Not too sure if there was any contact. Nobody seems to be waiting, so it all seems okay so far. Blue flag's in third. T. Smith's up to 4th already. Rom has dropped down the order. P5, Pagani's on his outside in B6. And Lennon is also there. Pagani then going to switch to the inside, hold a tighter line through the hairpin. He's marginally ahead. We see a good drive out the corner, and Pagani does make that move. So Pagani up a couple, T. Smith's up a couple, and unfortunately it was only Lee that we lost, but I imagine he'll catch back up. Okay, starting up number 2. Linus, he is your race leader. Blue flag, looking to maybe challenge Cartman very soon. There is a small gap back to T. Smith, who's got Pagani with him. Pagani gives him a little push into turn 1, but nothing too bad. As we saw there, like I said, the contact can be quite firm and it not really jeopardise people too much. So thankfully, no further damage there, but Lee is not too far behind now after what's happened. Those two Renault boys driving pretty well so far. Cartman does seem to be a little bit quicker, but maybe that's just the slipstream keeping him there. He's switching to the outside of T. Smith and try and cut back and get a better drive out the final corner. That's what I was doing last night, and it worked pretty well. But T. Smith is very aware to it, and Pagani, although does set the fastest lap of the race, is not any closer to T. Smith than he would have wanted to have been. But it's all kind of as you were. Lee does seem to have caught up. Yes, he does. He's back in slipstream range, so Lee's well and truly a part of this race again. Brett's had an off at turn 1. And now these front runners have got everybody down to Ross right behind him here, so I'm wondering whether Cartman is going to try and have a go at Lionessi, see whether he can pull a gap. But as we've seen, a lot of these guys were glued to each other in the last race throughout its course. Pagani's going to have a hard time getting past T. Smith. I know they've run a few laps so they were quite close to each other in practice, and Pagani could stay with him and felt maybe a fraction quicker, but like I said, it's so difficult to overtake around here. Ross is looking to the inside of Rom. Was Rom overcommitted there, or has he nailed the corner? No, Ross has just pulled out. Ooh, Lennon in the background, grazing the gravel. Lee's going to go through. Unsafe Release sitting behind SPY, pushing him round as well. Good to see Unsafe being able to race in this one. Pagani around the outside of T. Smith. He's made it stick, so we didn't see what happened there, just caught the back end of it. That's certainly a statement. Blue flag running slightly wide, putting pressure on the Renaults. Nobody taking too many gambles at this point. No one really got much of a challenge on either, so we'll stay on board with blue flag because you can get a little bit of sight of those in front and behind. T. Smith just shows himself in the mirrors of Pagani, lets him know that he's still there. Pagani's not going to fall for that one. Unfortunately, Bread is not having the best of times trying to catch back up to this. But Lee now has cleared Lennon, as we saw. He's now right on the back of the two admin boys of Unsafe and SBY. So let's see what old Captain COVID can do. A really strong showing last time out in race 1. Another podium, and now Pagani has cleared T. Smith by about half a second, and he's now right on the back of blue flag, so he means business. He's had a really good run out of turn 1. Blue flag tries to show him off there, but Pagani seems to have the job done. Nailed turn 1, got past blue flag. Blue flag switches back up the inside of him. Pagani's going to have the better line for the hairpin now though. Keeps it on the apex. Move done. Next up, the two Renaults for Pagani, but these boys at the front doing a really good job so far. Not made any mistakes. Now T. Smith's going to try and get past blue flag as early as possible. Try and go with Pagani. Remember, he needs to be beating Pagani now in a lot of these races to have any chance in the championship. Ross is in P6, so he has got past Rom in the end. However, Rom with the slipstream but then towards turn 1. It might return a favour on Ross. He does pull to the inside, and we know Rom doesn't need a second invitation to go for a move. And he runs a little bit wide, dips the wheel on the gravel on the outside, but I think he should be able to hold on to this. But Ross is still half alongside him, and he'll go back down the inside. And they're going to continue trading positions, but Ross seems to have the position as it stands if he can just hold it on the apex, which he does. Nicely done from Ross, well defended. And that is Lennon, who, I mean, I do have a perfect sound clip on my Elgato for this, but I can't use it. But Lennon, you can't park there, sir. Lennon has left the room, so I don't know if there's any contact there, but it's unlike Lennon to just leave. Oh, he's lagged him out. I thought you just crashed. We all know you're prone to that. But who is it? This is the top 5, yeah. So the top 5 all in the hunt for the race win or the race lead. Ross managed to hold off from this time round, so he had a good second half of his lap. SBY and Unsafe are just still glued together. Unsafe does the fastest first section of the race. Obviously we will see that with the speed the Hyundai in slipstream down that main straight. Hopefully you can get back in for race 3 then, full reverse grid, so you would start on pole. Just saying. and Pagani right on the back of Cartman, so we'll stay with Pagani. We'll try and find a way to get past both these Renaults. We've seen how good Cartman is this season, excellent driver, someone I think very highly of. Just get bumped out of the way anyway. Oh, stop being a fairy, come on. Calm yourself down over the next 10 minutes and come and have a race. I don't have to obviously, but it'd be nice if you did. Now T Smith, we know what he likes to do. He likes to sort of just sit behind, wait for his opportunities, but it's an interesting point of the season for T Smith because, like we say, he didn't have the best first couple of weeks. Unusually for him, must be said. And he's been really, really strong since then. But you know, the championship, he's getting away from him. And Pagani is taking a look at Cartman. So these Renaults are starting to become a bit of a bust. Now T Smith is going to try and push his way past them. So here we go. T Smith, Pagani and Blue Flag going into turn 1 3 wide. T Smith pulls out, but he manages to get ahead of Blue Flag, crucially for him. So he's capitalised on the run out of the final corner, stayed in Pagani's slipstream and used that to get past Blue Flag, who was on the outside for turn 1. So yeah, T Smith is in a position where he needs to start finishing ahead of Pagani and just changing up his normal tactic as Blue Flag hits into the side of T Smith, sends him into a half spin, lifts off. Wasn't intentional by looks of things, just carried more speed into the corner, but cost them a bit of time. They're now out of slipstream range, so but only momentarily, I should expect. We'll go down the order. You've got Unsafe Release, SPY and Lee all scrapping away for P8. Lee down the inside of SPY, a bit of a bump. Everybody still as they were. Pagani's showing, pulling out just to let Cartman know that he's there. Oh, T Smith is well and truly off at turn 1. I'm not too sure what's happened there. Looked like he just broke far too late. Don't know whether his brakes stuck. It didn't seem to be contact or anything. I'm not really too sure what happened. And out of nowhere, yeah, Blue Flag's dropped right back as well. So I don't know if there's been issues between the two. And now Ross out of nowhere is up to P4, and Blue Flag is now stuck in between Rom and Ross. Do we know what's happened? Can I get any insight from those in the party? Is there silence or is there laughter? Because that will tell me everything. And T Smith has dropped all the way to the back, right way behind Bread. And this is wonderful news for Pagani, but awful news for T Smith. Any insights would be greatly appreciated. Cartman has got a really good run. There may have been contact between Cy and Tom. Can you confirm this on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being a lot of contact, 1 being no contact, and just give me a rough indication. And on top of that, please let me know how awkward said party is. And Rom's going back down the inside of Blue Flag. It's getting a bit bumpy now. Rom covers off Blue Flag. And Ross does have a little bit of breathing space. Meanwhile, Unsafe Release and Lee still scrapping away. SBY's dropped off ever so slightly. I believe Cy was caught out by the slipstream. Not awkward at all. But as we saw earlier on, it's as we said, sorry, that can easily happen. Pagani going for a move into turn 1. A little bit of a bump. Too sure. Cartman turned in. Pagani was there. I don't know whether Pagani tried to pull out of the move and go. Anyway, Pagani won't force a move if it's not there. If there was a contact, and it looked like Pagani lifted off a little bit out of the corner. Pagani really trying hard for this win, but Linus, he's got a 1.2 second gap, 1.1 second gap now. Driving really, really well in race number 2. It'd be great to see him get himself a win. Just needs to do what he's been doing for the remainder of this race. 4 laps to go there'll be. Possibly 5 for Lionesi. We'll have to see what the time is when he crosses the line. If there is anything above 4 minutes 40, it's going to be really marginal because normally a 1 or 2 second delay. I think it might be just 4 laps to go. Pagani's had to run out of the final corner, and Cartman is on his inside. Pagani can try and hold it around the outside into turn 1. Cartman's car's really good on the brakes, so he can do that. Pagani switches back up the inside. He saw it coming a mile off. He's going to have the inside for the next corner. Really, really good driving, and it gets the move done. Cartman will not give this position up. We've seen how good of a driver he is, but Pagani showing his experience here. Lovely driving. It was inch perfect. Pagani's got 1.5 seconds to find in 3 laps, possibly 4. Well, Pagani definitely won't get the extra lap in, so I would put my money on it being 3 more laps left of this race. However, Ross is rapidly approaching these guys, driving really, really well, having a strong end to the race. So can Ross have an input in this race? Or an influence, should I say. Roms is in P5, she's had a good drive as well. Blue flag in P6, not going to have to run on this lap. Unsafe release, Lee and SPY still glued together, and T Smith has dropped back off behind Bread. So I don't know whether this is another replica of what happened at Brands Hatch for T Smith, but nevertheless, if he's going to start on pole anywhere near it in race 3, you'd expect him to go on and win. Really good drive from Linesi so far. He's not losing any time to Pagani, so he's in his rhythm. Only going to look forward and see if Cartman can have any influence in this race for his teammate. Can he distract Pagani enough to prevent him mounting the challenge? Pagani's time is running out. Nine-tenths of a second. Linesi round the final corner. Pagani gets a good drive out. 8/10 of a second now. He's going to nearly be in slipstream range, but Linesi's still the favourite at this point. Ross losing a little bit of time to Cartman ahead, but he's clear, well, more than clear of Rom at this point. Unsafe SPY and Lee has kind of staggered 3 wide into turn 1. SPY down the inside of Unsafe. Very respectful and slow. So they're both trying to give each other far too much space there, and it slowed them right down. Excellent battles. Pagani 3/10 of a second away. It's getting close. It's getting very, very close. But Cartman's closed back up on Pagani, so any one of these could win this race. Linus, he does deserve to win it. Driven fantastically so far. So just go and check in with these guys. It's a really good battle between these in the battle for 7th. Like we say, the final race of the evening will be a full reverse grid from the results of this race. So T Smith, I imagine, will just sit here now and try and wrap up from there. Linus, he takes a really defensive line. Returns back to the racing line. Pagani right on his tail. Final lap of the race. Pagani's had a good run. Linus is going to come across and cover him. Going to stay on board with these boys. Pagani switches to the outside very late. Lionesi just needs to hold his nerve for this final time. Pagani switches back and goes to the outside. We've seen him do this a few times tonight. He's going to then come back round to the inside. And Cartman's dived down the inside, giving his teammate a push through the corner. And brought himself to pretty much a stop. Ross is now going to be close, but not close enough. But that push there from Cartman could have just won this race for his teammate. He's just got to navigate this long straight and then one final turn. Pagani's going to be close. That gap is coming down, switches to the outside. Can he make it stick all the way around the outside of the final corner? I don't think he can. He's going to be close, but Lionesi's going to hold on. It looks like what a fantastic drive from Lionesi. Really, really good job. I think Cartman's little push on his teammate there just about, probably unintentionally, gave him, well, helped him confirm that race win, because that was looking like it was going to be really close. It just gave him that little push out that final corner, but a good drive from Pagani. Really good drive from the two Renault boys. Ross recovers well to P4, Ron P5, Blue Flag 6th, SBY 7th. It was Lee Cole in 8th, unsafe release, unfortunately dropped to 9th in that little three-way battle. And then Bredd was P10, T Smith in 11th. Really, really good final lap of the race there. Thoroughly enjoyed watching that, so we'll save that replay. We'll reverse the order. And then we'll give them a couple of minutes to prepare for the final race of the evening. I will give Lionesi a congratulations for that one. Really good drive. Right, we'll give them a couple of minutes. So next week we will be racing at Tsukuba, which is essentially a go-kart circuit. So there's only a very small straight. The rest of it's just loads of little tight twisty corners. The four-wheel drive cars, I imagine, will excel around there. So for those in the Hyundais and the BMWs and the Ford Mustangs and whatnot, will struggle a bit next week, I think, just for that extra bit of turning. So the Mitsubishis and the Subarus will be the cars to watch. Probably the Renaults as well, actually. Only a couple more weeks left of this season. We're approaching the business end of season 16 of FTRL GT Sport, which is incredible to say. And then taking our adventure to a brand new game, which is incredible. It's weird on reflection to sit here and think about how long we've been doing this for and some of the people that we've brought into this league. I mean, we can see a mixture of a few nationalities on the right hand side of the screen there. Obviously a lot of the guys that we race with are predominantly from the UK, but we've got, I mean, as you can see, we've got people from Belgium, the Ukraine, America, Germany, then I think of other people we've raced with in the past. We've had Denmark and Norway, Sweden, Finland, all over the place, Italy, and it's incredible to me that we've managed to build this from where it was. So not just in terms of the Gran Turismo side of things, and don't get me wrong, there's bigger and there's better out there than what we are, but the community that we've got, and you'll see these people will race pretty much every single season, but rarely missing a week, and it just goes to show how incredible it is. You know, we all, about 12 of us, had a meet up last year at Brands Hatch, which was really surreal, and we're doing it again in a couple of months at Donington Park. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing what we've done. And these guys on track that provide the entertainment every single week are the catalyst for it. So let's end this game and season very well. On to season 17 of Gran Turismo, which is mental. And get ready for lights out in race number 3. Here we go. So my money will probably have to be on T Smith for this race. I can't see him not winning this, but for a mistake or an incident on the first lap or two. And then it's anyone's guess for the rest of the race. But Pagani's made some massive points on T Smith there. I think he's made, another 10 points on him. So he's got like a 32-point lead or something now in the championship. The guys are revving the engines, and the lights are going to start to go out very, very soon. Oh, someone's full started. That's SPY's full started. Our Bread's full started as well. Full starts in season 16. What are you doing, boys? Incredible. Incredible. But Lennon does get past T. Smith off the lines. Had a really good launch, Lennon. I forgot he'd be starting on pole for this race. My apologies. Unsafe Release had a good launch as well in P3. Lee's in P4. Those guys are full started at the back, so that's Bread and SPY are thankfully still there. So 19 minutes of racing to go this evening. And Lennon does tend to do well in these third races, these reverse grid races, so fingers crossed for his sake he can have another good result. But T. Smith behind him will I'm sure will want to get past quickly and get himself a race win. And any GT week where T. Smith doesn't win a race is an incredible one. Lennon, I believe, is lagging out. I think that's definitely going to be some lag from Lennon's part. That was extraordinary to watch. Unfortunate for Lennon. Really sorry to see that. Some connection issues with the lobby this evening for Lennon. Massive shame. That was really weird to watch on the stream. But T. Smith takes over the reins for this one. An Unsafe Release holding off Lee, and Blue Flag has had a good start as well. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Cartman, so I was just reading the chat as well. That was that was incredible to watch. Yeah, the grip of the gravel that he just had there was mad. Ross, thanks for the clean race. What's happened there? I'm not too sure who he's had contact with. Linus, he's dropped off at the back as well. I'm not so sure whether there was contact between those two, possibly. I'm just putting two and two together because SPY and Bread were right at the back. But Ron putting SPY under pressure. The birthday boy not had the best of evening so far in terms of races. Pagani in that classic Subaru livery. Him and Cartman closing down on the front view, and T. Smith has dropped time again. He's not managing to get away. Let's see what the man can do. Pagani runs wide. Now Cartman's going to know all about Pagani's pace, especially after that last race then. That was a extraordinary race to watch. And there's a small gap to 7th. Hopefully these guys can all group together. Fastest lap of the race goes to that man again. Pagani 1:10.6. Good for SUY and Robin to maybe work together here to try and catch back up. It's a shame for Ross. Looks inevitable that that's probably going to be where he finishes in this one, but for any mistakes or if he shows some ridiculously fast pace. Finish for doing low 1 minute 10s to catch up with those at the front. And Lee's got past Unsafe Release, so Unsafe's run a little bit wide for the long left in sector 2. And Lee's inherited that position back off him. Unsafe, I imagine, will probably go back past down the start finish straight. Oh, he's having a bit of a lag problem there. I think he's back to normal now. Some of these guys having a few issues this evening. 1:10.6. T. Smith has responded. Fastest lap of the race. Unsafe, he's going to take a look down the inside of Lee. He's later on the brakes. Lee covers him off well. Unsafe gets a bit of a squeeze into the grass, and that's blue flag going off at turn 1. Rejoining, he's going to end up right the way down in P10 by the looks of it. Not too sure whether there was any contact. But nevertheless, blue flag has dropped down the order. Like we said, he got caught out in the last race apparently in the slipstream, so I don't know whether that's happened again or there was a bit of a tap. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. But T Smith is not managing to shake off Lee, but Lee has shaken off unsafe release. Oh, it was a massive wiggle from unsafe. I heard the squeal of the tyres as Rom has gone quickest overall with a 1:10.4. An unsafe release is now bringing SBY with him. Unsafe hot into turn 1. It's going to compromise his position. SBY is going to try and go down the inside. Rom's going to try and follow him through. As we know, Rom will not need a second invitation to try and make that move. If Sean to push into the corner, trying to push his way through. A few elbows starting to come out now. Unsafe runs wide. Rom's going to go through. And Lee's right on T Smith now. Really putting him under some pressure. Pagani as well. Pagani could have a look at Cartman here, because that time he's coming down. Pagani's had a really good run at the final corner, and he's going to probably look to the inside of turn 1. Cartman's probably going to be a sitting duck here, unless he can really gamble on the brakes and go around the outside of Pagani, or return the favour and cut back. But no, he doesn't. I think he's just going to tuck in behind Pagani and try and let him drag him up to those at the front, which is a sensible thing to do. SPY is on the move as well, closing down those guys. And unsafe is in front of Rom in the battle for 7th, as Ross managed to gain any time. He's managed to get ahead of Bread, and Ross is now wiggling away down the straight, unless he knows he's on camera, or he's just having a bit of fun to end the evening off. But we'll stick with Lee, see what he can do on Mr. Smith. Going look to the outside, got the Texaco livery. He's gone purple in sector 2. Tom's run a little deep into the final corner, and Lee is he going to take the race lead? They're going to run side by side. Is he also going to set the fastest lap? No, he's not. He does have it from the lap before, 1:10.3. So Lee Cole's on absolute fire at the minute, and not just his throat with his COVID. Yeah, Pagani's pulled a small gap to Cartman, but I think at this point Cartman is still probably quite content with where he is. Does have a second to SBY. Unsafe release from Brom still as you were. Lioness is slowly catching up. Blue flag likewise. And then Ross and Bread are just going to wiggle away down the start through the run down to turn 2. I think Ross might be a little bit displeased with something that's happened in this race, given his message earlier on. So we will find out what that was, obviously, but for now we'll let those boys carry on, enjoy themselves. But can this man do anything about T Smith in front of him? It's a bit of a stalemate at the minute, and he's bringing his teammate with him. So let's put on as a 1:10.2, incredibly fast time. Yeah, still all as you were at the minute. We'll stay with Lee for now. You can see how much quicker he is than Tom through this middle sector, but Tom, obviously experienced enough to know where to put the car and what to do. He's going to take something special from Lee, and could this be the moment? Is he going to try and go around the outside of Tom? Now again, Tom sitting very nicely on the racing line, keeping Lee behind him, but all the time he's doing this, keep an eye on that other shiny Subaru in P3 on his way up towards the front. He's within slipstream range now. Wasn't Lee like last at the start? I'm not too sure. He's looking around the outside of Tom in towards turn 1. I know he didn't start last because he had a problem, didn't he, in that last race? I think he started around 6th or 5th in this race, because I think he finished around 7th or 8th in the last one. So, but nevertheless, he's had a really good start. Tom's cut quite a lot of that inside curb. He's going to go to the outside, and Lee should have this move done, unless Tom can really nicely hold this around the outside with that BMW. But the grip of the four-wheel drive of that Subaru is just going to pull away, and now Pagani's on his way through as well. Lee Cole driven excellently in this one so far. If he manages to get himself a race win with these two behind him, he's done some seriously good work. Pagani down the inside of Tom into the final corner and makes it look easy. Set it up well, and he's just going to drive away. Cartman still staying with them just. SPY can see where he wants to be, but he's not quite close enough. And Ross and Bread having a bit of fun further back now, as Bread's having a good old drift, having a mess around. We'll leave them boys to it. Pagani practically pushing Lee around at the moment. Now, I'm not too sure how Pagani will play this, because he might just try and protect Lee from T. Smith to get Lee a win. Obviously, those two are teammates, leading the constructors as well, and this is going to be a massive week for them, given the points that they've gained on those around them. I think the closest competitors are Tom and Ross, I think, and obviously Ross has had a poor one in this one. Tom likewise in race 2. So, will Pagani push for that one extra point, or will he try and get his teammate the win? We'll have to see what his intentions are. Just a few laps to go. It looks like he's pushing Lee, so I think Pagani wants Lee to get himself a win, which would be good to see. One thing I like about the GT Sport, you can really help your teammates get themselves some nice results. We've seen it in both divisions this season. T. Smith falling away a little bit, and he's now under pressure from Cartman, so it's just, I think it's probably just the car. Not too sure whether he's having any issues with his wheel or his pedals. Oh, excuse me, that's a yawn. And Rom is now closing back up to SPY and bringing unsafe release with him. 9SE kind of lurking around as well. Blue flag's not really made up much ground, which he won't be too pleased about. And Cartman has passed T. Smith as well. Unless T. Smith's going to hold it around the outside. Cartman's got a really dodgy angle for turn 1. Oh, it's close. Just about hanging on. Cartman, I think, is through. That's a really awkward angle for Cartman to take turn 1 there. But he gets the job done. And the gap is 1.3 between Cartman and Pagani. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if Pagani just helps Lee to a race win. And that's what I'm going to put my money on, unless Lee looks to return the favour and just let Pagani through, knowing that his championship points are very, very, very important. Either way, as long as these boys finishes a 1-2, I think that's be all that they want. Can Rom have much of a say on SPY? Certainly close the gap. 4.5 minutes remaining, so just 4 more laps for these boys. A lot of battles, but not a lot of action. Is pretty much where this race is lying at the minute. Sit with SPY and Rom. Good to see Rom back on the track with all of us. I'd say Felice has left the room. Not so sure whether that's a mistake or a lag problem, but we know he's been having a little bit of internet trouble, so let's just hope for his sake it's not something that's going to last too long and we can get him back on track as soon as possible. Yeah, the top two I don't think are going to change. I'm pretty confident on that. Cartman versus T. Smith is the one to watch. Been a really impressive debut season from Cartman. Obviously, like I've said pretty much every week so far, we know he's got a very, very, very good reputation of being a speedy boy. And he's certainly coming and mixed with the very best that we've got to offer in FTRL. And a good scrap with T. Smith going defensive. T. Smith going to around the outside again. Carbon copy of the previous lap. Really good scrap to watch. And we've seen in the tracks where the Renault hasn't been really bad, Cartman's been up there for most of the races. So let's hope it's just more of the same from him, because I definitely think there's an FTRL champion in there somewhere from what I've seen. With any luck, that will materialise sooner rather than later. Maybe in the opening season of GT7. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, he's certainly got his hands full with T. Smith behind him, doing what he can. And they're going again. T. Smith is going to try and cut back down the inside of Cartman this time. Changes his approach completely. Gets a good drive out of turn one. T. Smith, that's going to be move done. Cartman, can he hold it around the outside? This could be the final lap. It's going to be pretty tight, but I think this may be the final lap of the race. T. Smith and Cartman still going side by side together. Cartman going to try and break and maybe cut back down the inside of Tom, but Tom holds his line well, as we know he can do. And he's made his move on what looks to be the final lap of the race. So very nicely done from Tom. Cartman has had a really good run in the long left-hander. Now he's got to pick his line. Is he going to go down the inside or the outside? He's just going to sit behind, see if T Smith will make a mistake, which he doesn't do. Lee Cole weaves across the line. Very, very well done from you. Pagani, another good drive. T Smith holds on to P3. Cartman 4th, SPY 5th, Rom in 6th, Lion Essie in 7th, Blue Flag in 8th, Bread finishes in 9th, and Ross is doing the final lap of the race in reverse. So Ross will finish in P10. But really, really good drive from Lee. Thoroughly deserves the win, and good sportsmanship from Pagani, who helps his teammate to win, but extends his championship lead to, it's going to be around 33, 34 points or so now. So Pagani looks well and truly odds on to win this championship now. If you didn't have confidence in saying it before, you can certainly say it now. And he looks to be the person to close off Gran Turismo Sport as the final champion, but for any last minute delays or any future returns, which you can never rule out. It's there we go, classifications complete. Rom leaves the lobby right at the end, which is annoying because now we have to remember where he finished. But there we go, 3 entertaining races, 3 different winners. Has been much of the theme of the season. But yep, next week, like I said, we're at the Tsukuba circuit, which is a little go-kart track. So if you expect the long trains and groups of cars together, you're certainly going to get that next week. So please do come and join us for that. And until next time, we will see you then. Please do come and join us for our Formula 1 side next week. Obviously, that's managed by Mr. Lee Cole, the Race 3 winner. He does his excellent commentary, as we're all familiar with. And then we'll be returning on Thursday and Friday of next week for Gran Turismo Sport. So have a good weekend, and I'll see you all soon.